Today is February 12th, 2014, and Joe Turner and myself, Judy Meyer, are talking to Rozella Payne. Did I
Yes.
pronounce it correctly?
Yes.
And Rozella, how do you spell your last name?
Payne.
That's interesting because being involved with the Bridgeton Historical Commission, our family from the Payne Gentry House, it's the same spelling. Were you related at all to the Payne Gentry people?
Not that I have been aware of. My husband came from Arkansas and then moved to Illinois when he was a baby. And
I see. And what about you? Where did you start off your life?
in the country in southeast Missouri, outside of Sikeston.
Okay. And what brought you, to St. Louis?
I came to visit and met my husband and decided a week later to get married.
Wow.
And
Wow.
2 months later we got married.
Oh my. Well, how old were you at that time?
I was 20 years old.
Oh, I see. Well, that's pretty good age. So up until 20, you lived outside of Sikeston?
Yes.
I see. Were you working then at that time?
No, I was going to school. I went to school. I was in a car wreck when I was 16 and had to miss a whole year of school. So I was a year later. I didn't graduate until I was almost 19.
I see.
And then I broke it again and had to have more surgery.
Oh
So
my. Wow. Well, who did you come up to St. Louis to visit?
my cousin and her husband, they lived up on Welland.
Oh, right around here in
Yes.
Bridgeton.
Yes.
And your husband was living where?
He lived with his sister up on St. Charles Rock Road.
Okay. And how did you meet?
My cousin that I came to visit, her sister had married my husband's twin brother. So we're a mixed up family, if you really want to know.
So it was like cousins?
And sister-in-laws, and yes, we married twin brothers.
Oh, how interesting. So your husband was a twin?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
I see. So did you get married here in St. Louis?
Yes.
Where did you get married?
We got married out in the yard over at the parsonage of Hope Lutheran Church over in St. Anne's.
Oh, how nice. I hope it was a nice day.
It was.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And when you got married, where did you live then?
Right after we got married, we moved in next door
To where we are right
to
now?
where we are right now, where the Skinners live.
And
We lived there about 3 months, and then the people that were living here decided to move, and they moved to Oklahoma, I think it was, and we bought the house from them.
what kind of work did your husband do?
He was a die cutter, worked for a Western Printing Company who made the little golden books.
Oh, yes, of course.
And then later in years, he worked at Bennett Paper as a foreman in Maryland Heights and in Earth City. And then he finished up at Boxes Incorporated downtown.
I see. And were you working then? Why?
No, I just worked off and on and not.
And did you, when you came, after you got married, did you have children then?
We had 4 girls.
Oh my, 4 girls.
We had 4 girls, and then we had another girl came to live with us when she was 15, and now she's in her 50s, and she's ours also. So we have 5 girls, and then about 20 years we had another one that wandered in, and we kept her too. So we got 6 girls.
Where did these girls, or how did they come into contact with you? Let me ask you.
They
that.
were my daughter's friends.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, how nice.
And they just were here for holiday. The one lived with us, came to live with us so she could go to school in Pattonville.
Oh?
And she was she was 15
Uh-huh.
at the time. And now, I think this weekend she'll be 54. I'm telling her age. I won't tell her name.
Well, that's all right. Right. We won't have to say her name.
No.
But what are the names of your daughters?
My girls are Barbara, Nancy, Deborah, and Leslie.
And what school did they go to?
To Pattonville.
And what grade school did they go to?
Part of them went to Old Pattonville Elementary,
Which was where?
up on Beefy Road, where the Vantage Credit Union is now.
Yes.
And Mr. Sam Teeter was the principal at that time.
Okay.
And then they went to Remington for a while and then was transferred to Bridgeway.
I see. And then they went
to Heights, Pattonville Heights, and then to the high school.
and they all graduated from Pattonville High School.
Yes.
And where was the Pattonville High School located?
When they graduated, it was where it is now. My oldest daughter started there when she was a freshman. That was the first year that it opened, was the year she was a freshman.
What kind of activities were going on when they were growing up and in Pattonville? Were they involved in any extra activities?
Not through school, mostly with Girl Scouts and at church.
Well, I also did a lot of Girl Scout work, so do you want to tell us about that? I mean, having 4 girls, were you involved in all 4 of them?
No, the oldest one didn't want to do Girl Scouts. The next 2 did Girl Scouts, and that's when I said I had the political troop in.
Now, what do you mean by political?
Well,
Explain a little bit about that.
I had the judge's daughter in my troop,
And what was the judge's name?
David Spitznagel,
Okay.
and Andy Kaspacek, which I'm sure you know Andy.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And his daughter name was Jenny. And I had Glenn Liebig's daughter, who was Lisa. And now I've already forgot the other one I told you a while ago, what her name was. But I had 5 girls that came from St. Mary's, which at that time was over on Long Road.
Yes.
It's no longer there.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yes.
And this is one reason why we like to talk to people, because many of our churches and schools are just
Are no longer there.
Right.
And our troop, several years ago, we were pictured in they did a booklet advertising the Parks Department in Bridgeton.
Yes.
I took my troop up to, Gist Road, the park
Yes.
up there, and we did what they call primitive camping.
Oh my
Of
gosh.
course, that was been years ago. And Joe, I can't think of his name, was the head of the Parks Department now, okayed it. And he and another gentleman even pitched a tent not far from us and spent the night up there also while we...
That sounds like Joe Campbell.
No,
It was a different Joe.
Sparacio?
Yes, yes, I believe that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. I thought that was his name, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, did your girls sleep in tents as well?
Oh, yes, we all slept in tents. And we cooked outside on a little fire.
Uh-huh. And did they have bathrooms set up?
No. You had to dig it. They did not have bathrooms at that time.
You said primitive, didn't you?
It was primitive
Oh,
parking.
but my goodness.
Well, that's been a long time ago.
Yes. How did the girls?
Oh, they enjoyed it. We never had any complaints,
That's wonderful. Did you have a lot of help from the parents?
Oh, yes. I had a couple of ladies that helped me in the troop. And
Did you, do any I can't think of the word. Where you go places and do things for other organizations.
just through the
Service
church.
projects.
Service projects, yes. They did several service projects throughout the year, just helping different people and collecting canned food, for needy families and different things like that.
And then the 4th girl, was she involved in Scouts?
Yes. But I did not have her. I helped in the troop as cookie chairman.
Yes.
And, but her leader still lives up on Oak.
Oh, really?
And, yes.
Do you remember her name?
Her name was Fran Geisel.
Oh, how about that? Do any of your daughters live here in Bridgeton?
No. Well, one of them does not. Her permanent residence now. She lives here right now because she is taking care of the cousin who I met my husband at her house has Alzheimer's.
Oh.
And my daughter is staying with her and taking care of her.
Oh, I see. But the others do not live.
The others live in St. Anne's.
Oh, well, that's close.
Oh, yes. They're all within 5 minutes.
And you have grandchildren?
Yes. I have 9 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren.
Wow.
I've got two of my grandchildren right now are in Mizzou, and one is in Pattonville High School, and the youngest one is in Holman Middle School.
I see. Oh, nice. Do you participate in any of their events? Do you see anything, that they do?
Oh yes, I go. I went just not too long ago to band concert for the youngest one in Holman.
Oh,
She
how
plays
nice.
in the regular band and also the jazz band.
Oh, how wonderful. Great. Well, let me ask you, Rozella, do you go to any of the Bridgeton things like the concerts in the park in the summer?
Not, it has been quite a while because I don't get, as I told you, I broke my leg twice when I was younger. Then about 30 years I fell and broke it again. And then 2 years ago I fell and broke it again. So I don't really do, the only thing I do really now is I go with a group from church to nursing home visiting. And I love to do that
I'm sure they appreciate that.
because I like to talk and most of them like to talk.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, do you have any memories about when they built Northwest Plaza?
I can remember it was a big old farmhouse that, it looked like it was sitting on a big hill. But the other day I thought, well, it is kind of a hill, incline going up. But I was thinking that the other day when I passed by there, this looks worse than it did when they first built Northwest. They've got a mess up there now.
It
Yes.
is, and that's why I like to ask people because it seems like it's just kind of coming around in a circle.
In a circle. That's what I thought the other day when I passed by there, that it's just almost come full circle in
Do you
there.
remember your reaction of when they were building Northwest Plaza? How you felt?
Yes, I thought, oh, we can have a place to shop because when I first got married, we went to Wellston most of the time. And then they built the one over on Page,
Pagedale, probably.
yeah, over in that area. And we went shopping there because they had a big Penny's and Outlet Mall. I mean, all the stores were there, and we went there and did a lot of the shopping. And in fact, my aunt and I, who lived over on Falcon, each week when we would go shopping, we went to Overland because they had 2 grocery stores and then they had a meat market. So we just went together and would go there to do our grocery shopping.
At Northwest Plaza, did any of your daughters get part-time jobs there?
No. The youngest one worked at a photographer's shop over on Dorset, I think it was. One of those little booths where I don't know if you remember them not, but you could turn in your film and they would send them off. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She worked there, and the other one worked at McDonald's, and then she started out at St. Luke's, and I have 2 that works at St. Luke's.
Oh, uh-huh.
In dietary and have been there for years.
Mm-hmm.
And the youngest one really never has worked. I told her years ago when she started having her kids, I'd just assume she'd stay at home, and if we could help her, we'd help her, rather than me have to watch kids. So
Well, getting back to the Bridgeton area, what was this immediate area you're on right now? What was it like in Old St. Charles? Can you tell us a little bit about what Old St. Charles was like, your memories of it when you first moved here?
There were very few houses, no churches at all on there. They've all been built in latter years. And of course, Boston Farms was a farm with an apple orchard out in the middle of it. Of course, the girls always went up and got apples, which is just right up the street up here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the man across the road also had a big garden up on Old St. Charles, and he had a few cows up there on Old St. Charles. It's not where the chief of police lives now, but it was the last chief of police or one before that lived on Old St. Charles, right about Falcon, along in that area.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Of course, there was none of those one houses there that's on the, I guess it's the right if you're going. There was none of those houses there. There was a couple of the others on the other side that were there, but not.
So there were a lot of, it was basically
Space,
farms?
yes, farms, yes.
And did you have a garden? I wouldn't
Oh,
call it a
yes.
farm, but a garden?
Yes, we have always had a garden. My daughter still thinks she's planting a garden, but it's not, doesn't amount to too much, but she tries.
Well, that's fine. That's
Yes.
fine. Uh-huh. What about going over to Brannicky Hardware? Did you go there?
Yes. Brannicky's at that time was a grocery store on one side and a hardware store on the other side. And so you went to Brannicky's to buy, you know, if you needed something, you ran up to Brannicky's rather than, you know, go somewhere else. But they were located right where they are now.
Did you pick up your mail there also?
No,
You had delivered?
my mail has always been delivered here. And we were not Bridgeton at that time. It was called Pattonville at that time. But we were rural route Robertson is where we got our mail through Robertson.
I see. What did you think about when they decided to build in our city? Were you surprised when they decided they
Yeah,
were going
because,
to develop our city?
Yeah, because used to it flooded out there. Still, yeah, I was really surprised when they decided to build out there. And when my husband, when their company moved out there, there wasn't too many, you know, places out in there that had businesses at that time.
So he ended up working.
Yes, yes. The company moved from Maryland Heights over to Earth City.
It's quite developed now.
Oh, it's quite developed now. Yes.
In fact, you know, we have Firehouse over there, and of course the Rams practice facility is there. We have quite a bit over there. Do you take part in any of the services Bridgeton offers, like the senior bus, or you know, to take you shopping?
No, I haven't, because I'm still able to drive, and one of the girls can usually. But I will not hesitate if I ever get to the point that I, you know, that I.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's offered
Yes,
to people.
yes. I used to go up and exercise every once in a while, you know, with them when they had their, they still have their you know,
Right.
exercise programs.
Yes, they do offer that, right? Is there any other things that you can think about Bridgeton, all the different businesses that have come and gone along St. Charles Rock Road?
Oh, Grandpa Pigeons. Everybody remembers Grandpa Pigeons.
How many different Grandpa Pigeon stores do you have?
2. The first one that I remember is probably right there along where 70, on this side of where 70 goes under. About where Shamel's, I don't know if you know where Shamel's Auto is, they're there on the Rock Road. It's the last business before you get to you know, the 70
Okay, yeah,
Rock
that
Road
was-
overpass.
That was their newer location.
Yes, that was, no, the newer location was the one that's out there now where Walmart is. That was the one that,
Okay, I thought that's what you were talking about.
no, this one was up the street from that. There almost, it was before 70 was ever put through there. It was right there about on the corner of, you know, along in that area right there.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
We had heard that the Grandpa Pigeon was on the,
At Natural Bridge Junction, where Natural Bridge runs into the Rock Road.
No,
Yep.
no.
did you like to shop at Grandpa
Oh,
Pigeon?
loved to shop at Grandpa Pigeons. The top on my Christmas tree that's been on there 59 years was the 59. I bought it Grandpa Pigeons. Now, the girls say, they all said, don't you think we are to move? And I said, no, that star's been there all these years and we'll keep it. And I understand that Grandpa Pigeons, the family is opening up some new businesses.
Oh,
but
really?
I haven't heard exactly where. And they also had a store over on Manchester at that time.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yes.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting place to shop. The only thing is that the floors seem like they always hurt my legs to walk on the floors.
Okay.
There.
When the first store, the one up here, and I don't know if you ever heard this story, they had a lot of things in barrels.
Oh,
They didn't have them on shelves or anything. They were just sitting around, in containers. And you went through,
you just kind of like dug through them?
dug through them. And then the garage, that was up on the Rock Road.
A garage?
Yes, out there almost where Layman comes out. Along in
Okay.
there where,
Mm-hmm.
and then the big house, that the sisters lived in there where the Baptist.
What's her name?
I can't think of what their name is, and I should know because they were connected with the church.
Was that on the same side of Rock Road as Branicki's?
No,
No, it's across from
Oh,
Branicki's.
across
Across from Branicki's. In fact, the
Oh,
big
yeah,
house
this
hasn't
is-
been gone that many years. I mean,
Miss
maybe,
Lucas, you mean?
yeah,
Okay.
maybe 20 years or
Yeah.
30 years, which is not, just seems like yesterday.
Yeah, right across from Branicki's.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
There's a Walgreens there now.
yes, there's a Walgreens there.
Yeah, that's sad that Bridgeton wasn't able to preserve that, but
Yes,
it would have cost a fortune.
oh yeah. And of course, then I can remember, the parks around when they started building them in Bridgeton. There wasn't.
You have a real nice park up here close to Hellebusch, correct?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went there last summer and had dinner. We bought our dinner and took it up there. The girls and I did, and watched the people fish. We used to go fishing there just to take the kids up and take them to play.
I think they have Bridgeton has a fishing derby
Yeah,
there for
yeah.
the kids. Yeah, I've never attended it, but I've heard about that.
And then another change is up here where Meyer's Acres is.
What was Meyer's Acres?
Where is it?
My last name is Myers.
Myers?
Same spelling.
Okay, Meyer's is right up there on Welland. As you're coming down before you get to the top of the hill, Meyer's Acres is right there. But it used to be just a little old farmhouse, and they had a big pond out in the back acreage that people could go fishing.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
So that was the name
It
of
was-
the family?
Was Meyer's. Yes.
Uh-huh.
And the girls, every Halloween, she always made popcorn balls, homemade popcorn balls, which you can't hand out anymore or anything like that. But they love to go to their house for popcorn balls on Thanksgiving. On Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you know everybody around when your girls were growing up? You kind of knew all the neighbors and everybody?
Yes, I could almost tell you every neighbor we had. Of course, I was a youngster when I moved in. The people all around me were older. Now, the lady across the street, her daughter had moved in with them, and her grandchildren were raised with my kids, so we knew them and the people next door. And in fact, the man where we lived over next door, his sister is the one we bought the house from, and then her brother lived next door, and then the house right next to him, a sister lived there. So it was just like a family
That
deal.
sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. So you've basically lived here almost your entire adult life.
Yes. 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 We got married in September of 1955 and moved in here in January of 1956.
Mm-hmm. So you must be pretty happy with the location.
Oh yes. Oh,
Wonderful.
Yes. Mhm.
That's wonderful. Where how far does Bridgeton go down this street before it would turn into Maryland Heights? Do you know?
Down, if you're going down Fifi, all of this in here is Bridgeton. If you're going down Fifi, it's down right almost before you get to that National Health Care,
Oh.
the big nursing home down there.
Mhm.
Because when they built this Bridgecrest shopping center down there at one time. We had an IGA store and a laundromat and a restaurant. And at that time, it was the chief of police. I can't remember. Crelo, I believe, was their name. His wife had a gift shop in there. And I worked in the laundromat for a lady for several years there.
I see.
And it's the Bridgeton city limits, because Matthews Park is in Bridgeton.
That's
and it's
right.
on past, so it's just right there about Matthews Park.
I see. I see. Well, we're very happy that, you've made this your home and you're happy here, and I hope you continue to be happy and comfortable here. And I thank you for letting us come today.
Well, I have enjoyed it. I will have to tell you, one of the biggest, I guess you call it improvements, that I've seen in Bridgeton is the church up here.
Which church?
Fifi Baptist
Oh,
Church.
okay.
It was just one little, the one old building. And then there was a little white house by the side of it was the parsonage. But at that time, nobody was living in it, and they used it for Sunday school, because I have gone there over the last 50-some years is where I have gone.
To
and
Fifi
seen all
Baptist
of
Church?
Yes, and seen all of the improvements and how much, they've done. And
Yes, they have truly grown and expanded.
Yes, they have.
But we're very happy that they have kept their chapel church.
Yes. Because it is historical. It's one of the historical sites, really. And it hadn't been too many years till some lady came in one day and I got to give her a tour of it. I was working for the food pantry or something, and she was asking about it, so I got to go in and, and tell her about, because we had several members, that had been in Bridgeton for years. And
Well, I give tours to the Payne Gentry house on
Yes.
Fifi, and I talk about Erastus Post, who is the uncle of Mary Elizabeth Payne, and how he donated the 5 acres for them to
build the...
Yes, for them to build that. So the Payne Gentry House family has a direct connection to Fifi Baptist Church. Yes. And as a historical group, we're also very interested in the cemetery. Yes. And we have, of course, many, many fascinating stories
about...
Yes, a couple of years ago we hosted a tour of the cemetery.
Yes. Now, is it this year that they're doing their 200th anniversary?
I don't.
I believe, yeah.
I believe
14.
it is, in 14.
Yeah.
What they
Yeah,
have decided
I don't
to
know
do,
what
I
they've
don't know.
decided, because I know the church, when they celebrated whatever they did the last anniversary, we also did, the cemetery too.
On their arch, it says
Yes.
18
14, yeah.
and
So
1914.
So it would be, yeah. This year I'm sure it is.
Well, you'll have to find out if there's any plans
Plans.
for celebration, and I'm sure it will draw a big crowd, whatever there is.
Yes. The most fascinating thing I have ever seen up there was a wedding one day
Where?
at the cemetery.
At the cemetery.
At the cemetery, I was driving through, because my granddaughter is buried up there. Well, my husband is too now. But I was driving through, and they were outstanding, all in their tuxedos and big dresses. Very small party, maybe 8, 10 people, getting married there on the first lane that goes down, just about 3 or 4. And I told somebody, and they said, well, they didn't ask if they could. And I said, well, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I don't know why you would want to, but if that's what you want to do.
Well, it's a pretty location.
Oh, it is a pretty location.
It's a very pastoral setting,
Yes.
the rolling kind of landscape, and I found it very peaceful myself to walk around the grounds. And you say your husband is buried
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Well, we had, like I said, we had a very nice event there a couple of years ago, and possibly in the future we can do it again. And we will be looking for.
Well, I've been through the Payne Gentry House, but it's been several years. So
It's
maybe I
probably
need to go-
much the same.
Yeah.
Yes, it's much the same. Sometimes some furniture gets moved
Moved
around a
around.
little bit, but it's the same. But this year we are having some events, some extra activities to go along with our open house tour. So if you're interested and have the time, you might want to think about coming up, maybe bringing your granddaughters or grandchildren, and taking part in that. And again, as I said, we thank you for letting us come
Well,
today.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.